Okay, we are at the Lincoln Memorial, or Lincoln birthplace. Been to the memorial, now we're at the birthplace. And I wasn't really interested in coming here. It was actually, I was driving by, and anyhow, there's other cars out here, so I guess I can walk back there. I see that that's closed. I mean, there's a gate here that says stop, but I guess that's just for the cars or something, because this is open, so I'm gonna walk back here. But I really wasn't interested in this at all. I don't really care about where Abraham Lincoln was born or any of that stuff. But the thing is that there are such eerie similarities between Abraham Lincoln's death and John F. Kennedy's death, and I'm going to post a thing up on that so you guys can see the list and the similarities. And so I can't really spout them all off because I haven't really spent a whole lot of time researching it all that much. I think I'm just gonna come back just far enough just to show you kind of this log cabin, which I think is where he was born. I'm not gonna really go up there because I'm not sure if this place is completely closed or not. I see more cars back here, so I don't know. Anyhow, here's the thing. And it doesn't matter if you want to buy into it or not. I don't care, you know. But, you know, the similarities, I always say, what are the odds? And this is another one of those things. And this is just like the 1972 with what are the odds? How can all those things have happened in that same year? And it's like, how can all of these things connect John F. Kennedy's assassination and Abraham Lincoln's assassination? Now, if you have an alien species who's come here, who's invaded a planet, and when I say alien species, you probably think of, you know, a crazy looking beings. Well, there are plenty of alien species to this planet that are human. They're just not from Earth. And let me explain this to you, for if I didn't explain it to you before, or you didn't catch it on the other video. You know, humans want to go to Mars, right? The moment a human steps foot on Mars, that human becomes an alien to that planet. So if you're an indigenous Martian and you see humans on your planet, you're going to, in other words, you yourself, let's say you get to win the lucky lottery to go to Mars, and you are on that. Oh wow, I guess so. Here's some log cabins. This is a visitor city. Visitor center. I'm not going over there. So here's some log cabins over here, but I think that the main house is probably going to be up these steps that I see over the other side. And you get to go to Mars, right? Well, you now become an alien because you're an alien to that planet. Every human that stepped foot on Earth or on the moon is an alien to that moon. So the 12 men that went to the moon, whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter. Let's say people go to the moon now, right? They now become alien to that planet. So what makes you think that humans from other planets are not, haven't come to this planet? They look pretty much like you. They can fit in, they have strange customs, things about them. And, nonetheless, they can find a way to fit themselves in. Well, that would make them aliens to, I don't know if it's this one here or if it's that over there. So I don't, anyhow, look, either John F. Kennedy is an alien or Abraham Lincoln is an alien. Nobody alive today would have been around when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. There are people alive today who were there when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Nancy Lincoln and I guess maybe Nancy Lincoln's house, I got her in, I guess, is right there. There's this thing here. So how far back is this? I really don't want to go all through all this. Anyhow, one of these guys is an alien because the similarities are just too much. And here's the thing. both of those assassinations were a pivotal point in history. Now, let's say you're an alien species and you come to this planet and you want to invade or place yourself. You know, you're able to manipulate timelines. You're able to change things in timelines. Well, if you want to, one of the greatest countries on Earth, I'm not saying America is the greatest country, but it is one of the great countries on Earth, because you have China and Russia and India, which are the other three. You know, so those are the main big four. You know, you would want to, you can, it wouldn't be that hard for them to instill, you know, put in an imposter in, right? You know, to hack a timeline, put an imposter in, to set up things for history, right? So that when you get to especially the point where we are now, anyhow, they could have easily put this guy in. And when you're doing that, because they may not understand completely everything about the human race, you know, or the earthling human race, they could easily just look at similarities of things that happened, you know. What the hell is this down here? I'll have to take a look. They have to look at similarities of things that happened to, not going down there. I don't know what the hell that is down there. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I already went to one cave today. So anyhow, yeah, I suspect Lincoln was not human. He was an imposter, because they took the assassination, one of the great assassinations of a president. They used that to go back in history to add their own, for your protection and health. Do not drink. Yeah. This is, and that goes back. That goes back in there. This is where this guy lived. What the fuck? Yeah, there's just too much. There's too much similarities there. And, how you doing? How you doing? So the similarities are just way too much. Was his house back that way?
Excuse me?
Lincoln's house back that way?
It's actually inside that building right there. It's
closed. Oh, okay, so they have it inside the building.
It's not the actual cabin, but it.
Can you see the wall?
Okay.
The window?
Thanks.
I don't know if you
Maybe
can.
around the back. You may look through the window and there's an old cabin. It's inside.
Jed ain't gonna come out with a shotgun and shoot me, is he?
No, I don't think so.
Thank you. So, yeah, so that's, they encased the house in this thing. That's pretty wild. So, here we go. A lot of climbing, a lot of steps. Done a lot of walking a day. Anyhow, guys, look. A species came to this planet. They manipulated a timeline. They didn't just manipulate 1972. But it may be possible that the year that they came here was in 1972. And when they came to this planet in 1972, they started screwing with the timeline. A whole bunch of things in the timeline in the past. And obviously in the future. Maybe 1972 was the year that they came here. And then they went into the past and they just started messing with a whole bunch of things in the past. And that's the reason why 1972 has all these irregularities with a bunch of things smashing into one year, you know. And if you go into the past and you screw with a timeline, the indigenous people of that planet that have no idea of that technology or what to look for would have no idea. And so this is this. You'd have no idea what to look for. So you would just accept that as history. But it's such a far back history. Some of these things, like, you know, like Lincoln. Yeah, I can't. There's a bunch of names here. Yeah, we can't see in there. But as I saw, I guess when this place is open, this exhibit's open, you can go in there and look at the house. I seriously don't care to see it. But I wanted to share this with you because if I would say, if you were to ask me how certain I am that Lincoln is an imposter, he was not a human, an indigenous earthling to this planet, I would say 100%. I am 100% convinced until somebody convinces me otherwise. But I mean, hey, you know, the humans do not understand, the earthlings on this planet do not understand how time manipulation works. They don't even understand how to look for it. They don't understand, you know, but they do see irregularities, right? They see all these things, like with the Mandela effect, like, you know, hey, how did this thing become this and now it's that? How you know, and it just go, and they see it, but they don't bother to look. You're looking at the symptoms, but you're not looking at the cause, right? You're only looking at the symptoms of the thing. You're not looking at the cause. So I guess it is kind of, you know, kind of makes sense I should come here, because this is probably one of the greatest part of the time hack, when they went back into the history, and who knows what other countries they've done this to. You know, they could have done this to China and instilled stuff there. They could have did this to, you know, France. They could have did this to Russia, anywhere. You know, I don't really know all the stuff about those countries and their complete history and irregularities of things. But I mean, come on, the stuff with JFK and Lincoln are just so bizarre, right? That you have to question, you know, you have only two options here. One, you're in a simulation, and this is a simulated loop of a repeat of something, a travesty that happened, but not in a reality, in a real reality, because there's no way that those things could have all lined up like that. Or two, you're in a natural reality, and alien species came here and manipulated your timeline. And when they manipulate the timeline, obviously, you can't just, I don't think that you can manipulate a timeline and there won't be something, you know, some type of ripple, something to, you know, give it away. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something that's going to stand out for those who know where to look. If you know where to look, then you'll see it, you know. And there's a lot of people who have seen and pointed out all these irregularities. It wasn't me. I saw other people talking about this, about John F. Kennedy and Lincoln. Now, here's the thing. If Lincoln is an alien, you know, not indigenous to this planet, was never indigenous to this planet, so that's the thing. If Lincoln was not indigenous to this planet, and he was considered an alien, well, look it up and look up how many people think that John F. Kennedy was assassinated because he wanted to talk about these deals and things that were going down with alien species coming to this planet. There are people who believe that that's the reason why he was assassinated. Now, if you'd have said this 3-4 years ago, a lot of people would laugh at you and shake their heads and go, oh, there's no such thing as aliens. But now, since the government's coming out and telling you, hey, yeah, they're here, you know, and all this stuff with Louis Alessandro in the background, now he's still there. And when I talked to the senator, and I said it wasn't like we were having a sit-down conversation, I just called in a C-SPAN while he was there, and I told him stuff about Louis Alessandro and myself, with talking about, again, you know, the thing with lock your doors and all this and stuff. One of the things that the senator said was, you know, I know Louis Alessandro, I know him quite well. He was in my office this morning. Bingo. That's another thing a lot of people don't realize, right? Because I was sitting there going, I was actually asking myself, like a couple of weeks or a week before that, you know, where the hell is Lou with all this stuff going on with Congress, right? In the beginning, he said that this was his mission, to get Congress to start talking about it, to get the stuff going. So he was out in the public eye. He was out in, CNN, C-SPAN, Fox, all that. And then once it started taking off, he all of a sudden disappeared. So it made it look like he just kind of wiped his hands of everything and said, okay, good luck, guys. That's not the truth. Lou Elizondo is still there. And now we know. Because when that senator said he was in my office this morning, well, this morning was the day after the big hearing that he was at, the big UFO hearing in front of Congress. So there you go. Yeah, and so now people, when you say stuff like this, now people are a little bit more open-minded and saying, well, maybe there is stuff going on with the aliens and stuff here. I'm just asking you to look at the irregularities and say, and if you think that this is not natural, how is it possible John F. Kennedy and Lincoln's assassinations both happened, the way that they did and all these similarities? If you think that there's something that just seems like it could not happen in a natural reality that way, then you need to start looking at the symptom or the cause. What caused these symptoms, right? And if you look for the cause, well, like I said, you're pretty much going to run into two things: simulation, or you're going to run into maybe aliens are manipulating the timeline. And once again, they manipulate the timeline. Look, a lot of people believe that this president, John F. Kennedy, was assassinated because of wanting to expose the aliens and stuff here on this planet. When he did a whole thing, when he did this thing about secret societies and stuff, right? He did that speech, and not long after that, he was killed. So, if he was going to expose aliens here, right? Aliens coming here, and he was assassinated for it, it's very odd that his stuff would line up with Lincoln's. And that's why I'm saying that could be like one of their imposters. Abraham Lincoln, in my opinion, was not from this planet. He was probably a human or a walk-in, if you know what that is, who portrayed himself as being one of the humans indigenous to Earth, and became one of the greatest presidents in American history. And so, yeah, this is it's all right there. It's in front of your face. And I hope that you guys really look into it and think a little bit deeper into it, and just keep an open mind and try to understand what I'm telling you, because you're probably not going to hear this anywhere else. There's probably nobody else that's telling you that Abraham Lincoln, because the irregularities and those things lined up with John F. Kennedy, he wasn't human. And there's other reasons why I believe that too, but I'm not going to get into that here today. With that, enjoy the rest of the time you have left.